Good evening, my friends. Good evening. Okay, so many devices here. Can't figure out what to do next. Uh, First, we got to move this down here so I can see. Hello, Myra. Hello, Richard. So we have a very interesting topic tonight, and it's kind of a continuation of everything else I've talked about. Too bad Rob doesn't know that Zuckerberg lives not too far from him. Yeah, he lives in Northern California. How is that close to me? He's what? How many hundreds of miles away? Hello, Precious. How are you doing? Rich is me. Great Gold. Who else did I miss? Twist Mint. Karen. Moira. Thank you for the hearts, people. Thank you. Rich is me. Hello, my friends. So, volume good? Everything good? Before we start with this topic, VPN on. Got to protect yourself against me. You're gonna be doxxed and tracked and so on. The Magic Stream. Hello. I'm sure he has many places. He also owns a whole compound in Hawaii. Yes. Hello, Zuck. If you watch my YouTube, how are you doing, Zuck? Zuck is so screwed up. He thinks the answer to everything is to take away all of our privacy, and somehow we will be better off. As he says, privacy, having privacy deprives us of social interaction. That's what he says. So he doesn't want to deprive us of that. So we got to have a lot of social interaction. He thinks he's hundreds of miles away, is spying on you through your family's Zuck book. John Smith, correct. It's called a side channel attack, John Smith Blab. Yes, you are correct. It's called a side channel attack. So yes, that is the Thank you, Magic Stream. Yes. Yeah, it's called a side channel attack. So we will actually talk about a little bit of that. And we'll talk about, a little bit more aspects of voice recognition, video recognition, face recognition, social media, all the stuff I've been talking about. We're going to put it into perspective, primarily to, yes, I know you're Oscar. And give you an idea of what Kelp has been pushing for. Where's Zucking Kelp? Kelp wants to push for more surveillance and more more data mining and more tracking by government. And so yeah, we're going to discuss that and how that's going to be used in a war scenario. So, or, to incite violence. I don't know if you all recall Rodney King. Anyone around and remember Rodney King? Or maybe you're too young to know about Rodney King. Anybody old enough to remember Rodney King? Yes, yes, yes. So Rodney King, and if you don't recall what that's all about, that's the L.A. riots in 90. When was that? 90 between. It's in the 90s. I was born yesterday. Yes, it was 92. When was that? Somewhere around there. 91? No, it's not 1997. No, it's. I'm gonna guess it's 91, 92, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. And so didn't he drown a few years ago? 92. There you go. Yes. So somewhere around there, just from my memory, it was around. Well, it's not that long ago for me, but maybe it's long for you. Why can't we all get along? Yes, Twist Mint. Hello, Monkey Man Jay, Greek God. Yes, he died. Yes. So yes, the cops were tried twice. First time they were acquitted, and then they got tried a second time, and went to jail. Hello, Deanna. Yes, I gave you a response in Brax, Deanna. So that's the story of people. Why are we talking about people? So that's the story of Rodney King. Now, what's is interesting about that? And I was here in L.A. and during the time of the riots, and I was very close to it. I was very close to it, and in fact, the riot spread all the way down to the border of Beverly Hills. So I used to live in the Beverly Hills area, and it was just right at the border of Beverly Hills, right where the Academy, the Academy Awards Museum, whatever they call that, the museum. It's right before that, and they were looting and burning buildings right up to that point at the border of Beverly Hills, and it didn't cross Beverly Hills, but it was really close, and it was very, very scary. It was very, very scary because it was kind of sudden. And what happened? The LA riots. And what happened was it was triggered by the video. It was triggered by the video of Rodney King being beaten by the police. So that's what the main thing was. And it took a while, and then they took the cops to trial, and then there was so much anger in the black community, and then they arrested the police officers in question, and they were acquitted. And during the time that they were acquitted, that started the LA riots. And it was pretty destructive, and there was a lot of looting, yes. And you can see, in Koreatown, the Koreans were up on the roof with their guns, guarding their property. There was a big rift between Koreans and black people, because many of the liquor stores were being run by Koreans in black neighborhoods. So the black people were like thinking we're being taken advantage of by these new immigrants and so on. It was kind of a complex situation. But what is interesting, and this is really what I want to focus on, is the fact that was triggered by a video. The video of Rodney King being beaten. Now the problem is people have now realized that is actually a good trigger. If you put the right kind of video out there, and you incite the right kind of anger, you will get a reaction just like the LA riots. So that's one of the scary things that you have to imagine is possible. It can actually happen, in a theoretical scenario that I'm going to raise here. So there's a just to I'm not going to show a video of it because something happened to Adobe Voco, but let me just talk to you about two technologies that it's going to be interesting to compare. Okay, yes, one of them is Deepfake, and the other one is Adobe Voco. So Adobe Voco is a voice recognition software, but it's a little bit more intelligent than that because it's AI. It's AI. So Adobe Voco, you speak to it, or you have it listen to somebody's voice, and it actually starts to learn the voice patterns of the person, and then adapts that pattern into an AI form, and then you can have it say anything, and then it will actually take the intonation and the voice of the person in question. So in the example in many videos, you can find this if you search for Adobe Voco, VOCO. If you search for it on the internet, you will find people putting words into Obama's mouth or George Bush's mouth, and being able to have him say something. So somebody can actually take Trump and have him say something inflammatory, and then post a video out there. So just think about that scenario for a second here. They can take a picture of Trump and have him say something like really inflammatory that will cause a problem, and then post it on the internet. And here's the problem: no one will actually be able to easily tell if that's fake or not. It's going to be extremely difficult. Hello, twin mom. Hello, Darlene. So, in fact, that's one of the reasons that, if you notice, Adobe Voco, which was supposed to be released last February, is still not released. Have you wondered why Adobe Voco has not been released? So they plan on releasing Adobe Voco like last February, and here we are already in 2019, a year later, and they still haven't released it. My guess is they're running into legal problems. The problem with the Photoshop version of your voice is that it can be used for so much bad purposes that you start to say, what is the good purpose of this? One of the purposes of Adobe Voco was to replace actors. So if you want to be able to speak like an actor, and then you want to put some CGI to replace, let's say, Princess Leia in Star Wars, who died. Now, how do you replace her? You put CGI, and the problem was the voice. And so now, how do you handle the voice? Easy. You use Adobe Voco. Okay. So that was the plan. And for whatever reason, it's not out there. Adobe Voco was not released, but there's another one. It's called Deepfake. So Deepfake is being used. In fact, it's being used for porn. Deepfake is being used for porn. And what it's being used for is to substitute a well-known person's face onto some porn video, and then say, oh yeah, that's such and such, somebody's famous, on the video. And so that's what they're using it for. That's called deepfake. And deepfake is able to, again, if you combine this with the technology of Adobe Voco, you could actually create a video. You can create a video that will not be discernible from a real thing. You can't tell. You can't tell. So if somebody wanted to plan this out and say, can we come up with a scenario where Trump or somebody important says something really, really inflammatory, or maybe the president of China saying something to the U.S., say, we will attack you, and then everybody starts to get riled up, and then they push a vote. They push a vote in Congress and cause using something like that to cause some political change. An example is, let's say this was the Iraq War, and somebody wanted to prove that there were weapons of mass destruction, and they couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove there were weapons of mass destruction. In today's world, they can just put Saddam Hussein on a video, have him say something about where he hid the weapons of mass destruction, put that on a video, and put it on CNN and say, hey, here, look, he's saying it, and then get Congress to vote for war, and there you go. This is the kind of scenarios that actually are very, very scary, because you can actually cause many of these to occur. Subscribe to Zuck. So anyway, I'm actually going to tell you a real event. This was a think tank said, let's do a simulation of a war. Let's simulate a war situation, and let's use our creative minds to see how a modern war would be fought. And so the scenario that they used to come up with the story, the scenario they used was China being the party, the other party in this war, and how we would defend against China. I think we need we need our squash count here. So listen to the scenario. This is this is no one here where you go with kelp. So kelp just doesn't have any brain power to understand the value of simulation and how it's a way to think it through so you understand how to deal with it. Kelp doesn't have any understanding of this. So to Kelp, he will just sit there and say, well, we don't want to look at the past. We don't want to look at the future. We want to look at now, and what we understand from now may not be what we really understand. But to Kelp, that is the way to handle this kind of situations. So forget Kelp, because this is really for Kelp. This is really to attack the kelp mentality that none of this matters. That data collection and data mining, none of this matters to kelp. Well, it matters a lot. It matters a lot. Okay, so this is the scenario that they thought about. So here's a military division in Japan. Okay. This is a military, outpost, base in Japan. And they said, okay, this is the first reaction force. If anything happens in China, the force in Japan would be the first to react, because they have all the warships and all stuff, and soldiers based in Japan. So this is the first thing that they were targeting. So they were coming up with a scenario. How would they do this? And let me just tell you what happened. What happened in the simulation? They did the simulation and they said Zuck. They got zucked. This is the simulation. This is the simulation situation. So in Japan, the military commander wakes up to some news that I guess his. I'm going to make some of this up because I haven't read the version, but it'll be somewhat like the original, but I'm going to make up some of them, so I don't have to remember the actual data that they used. So the base commander gets a message saying your daughter's been kidnapped. Your daughter's been kidnapped, and pay up money to this in Bitcoin to this location, or your daughter's going to be killed. So now the base commander's all rattled by all this. Then they go to each of the soldiers, and the soldiers had problems of various natures, such as you have you owe us money. You didn't pay a bill, and you owe us $20,000, and you need to pay up in 2 days or else. And then that kind of thing. And then some were hacked in various ways. Some saw that their money disappeared from banks. Whether it's real or not, doesn't matter. But they looked at their bank accounts and their money disappeared. They got various harassment things on social media. All of this happening at the same time. And then somebody makes a video that says something along the lines of, hey, American forces in Japan, stand down. We're not going to do anything, or we're going to be peaceful, or something like that. So they orchestrated this to happen all within a matter of a few hours. So in a few hours, they took all the doxing data, doxed the soldiers as many as they could, doxed the officers, hacked into accounts of soldiers, prepared some fake social media videos, and then pounded the airwaves of the populace of the base in Japan. And then after they did that, they then attacked the Spratly Islands in the Philippines and took over and said, okay, this is now ours, and put their military might in there, and then America could not respond. America could not respond. They were not ready to respond, and so they had to give up and say, okay, I guess we can't do anything. Okay, so to kelp, this is like theoretical things, and we don't have to think about this. But just like what I was trying to, it's a simulation. This was an actual simulation they did, and they put some brains into creating a simulation. You know, the people in the armed forces came up with a simulation, and the difference is they used doxing, hacking, fake news, and all that into the attack. It wasn't just a military attack. It was combined with all the fake stuff, fake news, fake video, doxing, hacking, and then basically disinformation. So they hammered out the disinformation in a few hours, and then sent that over the airwaves, over the internet, right before they did an attack. And of course, they could not respond. And that's kind of the problem that we have, because people like Kelp cannot think about those kinds of scenarios. You see, to people like Kelp, and many of you say, well, we don't really care about getting doxxed. We don't really care about our data until somebody weaponizes it. This is called weaponizing the data. When you weaponize the data into this kind of purpose, then you start to see, wow, that's actually dangerous to be doxxed. Because many people here say, well, I got nothing to lose. I don't do anything. I don't do anything important. Well, it doesn't matter. If I know information about you, for example, I know the name of your sister, I know the name of your daughter, I know the name of your family members, I can make claims like, hey, your daughter died. Hey, your daughter got hit by a truck. Hey, your wife got kidnapped. Hey, you know, any of these kinds of things can be said, and it can sound real when they dox you. You know, I get this phone call, just to give you an idea, okay? Give you an idea. You know, I get this phone call. I was in a restaurant. I get this phone call, and this guy said on the phone, "Listen closely. Your brother is in an accident." And then I started asking questions. What accident? Where? Shut up. Do not talk. This is a very serious thing. He says, he's in an accident. And you know what? I hung up. I said, Zuck, you. Hello, nerdy gal. Hello, Claire's grand. I said, Zuck, you. Okay? I mean, you know, don't give me this kind of nonsense like you're going to call me because my brother's in a zucking accident. I mean, that's, you know, I didn't even call my brother up. I said, this is a waste of time. Okay, this is a waste of time. So I hung up. Now, if you're gonna truly dox, understand how I would twist that and turn it into something more dangerous, and that is to use the data that you are doxed with. For example, if he knew the name of my brother and where he lives and what his birth date is and so on, and told me that on the phone, I would be kind of like scratching my head and saying, "Is that real?" What if somebody said, "Oh, hey, your brother John was in an accident. Is your brother John the one that was born on February 10, 19, whatever? Is that your brother? Does he live on this and such a street?" And you say, "Yes." Well, he's in an accident. Now, what are you going to say now? What are you going to say now? Okay, this is called targeted. This is actually one of the. This is called, what is it? Spear phishing. It's what it's called. In the internet, it's called spear phishing. But on a phone call, it's like a spear phishing phone call. But spear phishing is a pointed kind of phishing where you're actually targeting the data, the target with doxed data. And so it looks more real. It looks more real. So can you imagine if you didn't just dox the soldiers in Japan, but you actually, you just didn't say false things to the people in Japan, but actually had information on them. Maybe you access the payroll data, which somebody stole. As you know, I believe, was it China that stole some of the personnel data from one department in Washington, D.C.? And if I had the personnel data of workers in Washington, D.C. with their phone numbers and I have access to their social media data, I could come up with a scenario that can fool many, many of those people enough to get them confused so they couldn't take any action. Hello, Sparky. This is called spear phishing. So you combine doxing with some of this data that's real, and then combine it with your fake spiel, and then you can't tell. And that is so dangerous because the moment of confusion, when they come to you and say, is that real? How do you react to that? Now that can be used against you. That can be used against you, such as in a situation where they want to confuse you for war purposes. So they can come and say, okay, how do we do some feinting attacks and misinformation before we do our attack? So they're not expecting it. So you confuse the commanders, and you take the doxing data and you say, well, they've got nothing to hide. As many of you say, I got nothing to hide. I don't really care that I have my data out there. I got nothing to hide. No, I am not linking this to anything, Kelp. What the Zuck are you talking about? How does this connect to the Hawaii alert? Do you have the brains to figure this out, Kelp? I thought you'd be smarter than that, Kelp, being in law enforcement. Shouldn't you be smarter than that, Kelp? Shouldn't you understand the scenario that I'm saying and say, theoretically, how could this be used against you? Kelp, are you smart enough to think about how it can be used against you? Hello, Joss66. Again, if somebody just says, hey, your nephew is in jail, just send money, I may not believe that. But if your nephew, if they give me the identification of the nephew with his birthday, with his address, and some specifics, it's enough to confuse. Enough to confuse. Kelp only guards the LEO locker. So this is the kind of situation that I'm warning you, that you say, I don't really have anything to fear having my data out there. Well, because you say, well, I'm not important. Nobody cares about me. There's nothing that my data can be used for in a negative way. Well, wrong. This is an example where everyone can be a target. Basically, anyone that doesn't use a VPN, anyone that uses the real name on social media, and you are all the targets. You all are the ones that are going to be hit in a case like this. We, people like me that are protected on the internet, I'm not going to be too worried about getting any of that nonsense, because there will be no nonsense, because I'll know it's fake. Because I thought about it in advance. That's the difference, guys. I already thought about it in advance, and I'm aware of what I am me. Why don't you go talk to somebody with thoughts? Low-hanging fruit. What happens when it's real? So who cares if it's real, Kelp? The question is, you're being doxxed. It doesn't even have to be real. This is the aspect of misinformation, disinformation, fake news that you don't even understand, that you can be used for different purposes. I'll give you another situation. Okay. Let's say I want to rattle the followers of Maxine Waters. I want to rattle the followers of Maxine Waters. So I'm going to create a fake video of some African Americans in Compton being beat up by police. That would be the best scenario for this, and use that as a trigger. And then maybe put some videos out of Antifa people being arrested and getting beaten. I mean, let's make this scenario up that's like the worst kind of case, and then push it out on social media with so much confusion, and then confuse and dox Maxine Waters and the Black Caucus, so they can't respond. They can't go in the media, so they can't control their constituents. Can you imagine the kind of disaster that would cause? Can you imagine the disaster that could cause? I mean, that's the capability now of the technology. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, I suggest you look at videos of deepfake. 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 And what they can do with deepfake. So again, mostly deepfake is being used to falsify porn videos. So they want to put somebody famous on a porn video and say, who was the one they were using? One of the Avengers. And they're using deepfake for that, putting a face onto a video, and then releasing out on the internet and saying it's such and such a person. But if you do this with certain time events, meaning you can't do it in isolation. Deep fake, not deep face. Deep fake. Deep fake, not deep face. It's called deep fake. One word. If you look at this and you can see, wow, what can you do with this? So it's the kind of manipulation that can happen in society. What will happen in the next election? Will somebody just to give you another example here? Just to give you another example here, I can just imagine somebody at the last minute, like, I don't know, a day before election, releases a damning video. Somebody creates a video. This could happen, so warning you now. Someone will create a damning video that is just so repulsive about, let's say, Trump. They'll do it to Trump. I guarantee this. Okay, somebody will make a fake video, release it the day before the election to influence the election, and they'll use deepfake and some version of Adobe Voco or whatever version they have, and they will have this video having Trump say something like totally damning, enough to lose votes. Okay, wouldn't surprise me. And the day before the election, so there's no time to go. You can't go hire somebody to say, okay, got to go get a forensic analysis of the video to know that it's false. And Trump will say, that's false. And people won't believe him because he said, we see the video. It can't be false. We see the video. Okay? We see the video. There's the video. It's not, the video can't lie. Wrong. This is the new world, people. Videos can lie. I'm telling you, the voice can lie, the videos can lie. You can't trust that anymore. Can't trust it anymore. So I didn't see any videos or anything in the 2016 elections. The technology is already completely operational for this to be in effect in 2020. Are there ways to see? It's very difficult, Twin Mom. It's a specialty. It's called cyber forensics or digital forensics. It's very hard to prove on some of this. Very hard to prove. So some of the things that they're trying to do, hello Full Gamut, hello Jay Colby, some of the things they're trying to do is the manufacturers of some of this, like Adobe Voco, want to put watermarks in the output so you can tell that it's fake. Okay, but again, somebody could come up, especially a 3-letter agency type level, can create a software that doesn't have a watermark and that you wouldn't be able to tell exactly what would be happening. The commercial companies may put watermarks, but a non-commercial company is not going to put a watermark in because they're using it for nefarious purposes. This is going to be used to take down governments. Remember the Voice of America back in the day, and they wanted to influence various communist countries and various dictatorships, and they would send out Voice of America and send, basically fake news fake news on the radio so that the population can listen to that. Fake news or real news, whichever one is fake, but they're giving alternate news on the. Can it be reverse decrypted to remove the layers? No, Paul. This is a very difficult specialty, and I don't think we understand enough to know how to do that. From it's how would you be able to do it? If you look at the videos, you can't actually tell. So I just so this is the kind of scenario that you have to put into your understanding of the dangers of the internet. You have to think about what I'm saying and say, okay, how can my data be used against me in this fashion? It would require a massive conspiracy. Incorrect, Kelp. A few people could do this. A massive conspiracy. No. A few people can do it because they want to do it. A few people can do it and then release it and have it come out, and then using certain people who are triggered by anger, such as a Maxine Waters or somebody like that, they can cause them to go out there and just blurb, say anything, because Maxine Waters is known for just saying anything without actually thinking about using a little bit of intelligence. So one person can technically do it, yes. Yeah, and all you have to do is send it to the right party. A Maxine Waters. Somebody like that. A Maxine Waters is a great target for manipulation. Goodness, I mean, she's perfect because she'll take anything. Say, here's your impeachment data. Here's your impeachment evidence right here, and she'll just jump up and down and say, "Wow, great!" And the day before the election, she's gonna go out on media and say, "Yep, gotcha." So, warning you now. That's that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. So, in a way, that happened to Hillary, because the stuff about the Podesta hack and all that really got released just right before the election. The thing though with the Podesta release, that's kind of different than what I'm talking about, because the emails from Podesta, if you actually read them, they don't actually have any smoking gun. There was no smoking gun. There was nothing in there that would, make you, find something that says, "Oh, she's a criminal," whatever. That does not. The technology did not exist that was not ready yet. It was in the development in 2016, but it wasn't ready yet before the election. So you get into a situation where in the case of the Podesta emails, the emails revealed a personality about Hillary that just showed her real personality. So if you were going to just read the emails and see what did you get from this, was there any kind of real thing that you got from that, that would say that she committed a crime or anything like that? And that was not in the Podesta email. What happened was, when you read the Podesta emails, hack stuff, the emails from Hillary, what you got was an idea of the personality of this individual. And to be honest, as a kind of a middle of the road person, with kind of an open mind, I looked at that and I said, she's kind of a bitch. She was kind of a bitch. That's the feeling I got when I read that. Okay. There was nothing there specifically. I mean, there was it would just give me a sense of, a kind of a bitchy personality, which her security personnel confirm that she's kind of like that. So that's what I got from it, and I guess some of the electorate didn't like that, and yes, I agree that probably had some effect on the election. No, Trump, we already know. There's nothing hidden about Trump. Everybody knew about Trump's personality from the beginning. This just came, with this just came at the last minute where we saw a little bit of Hillary's personality, which we did not see early on. So that's a difference. That's a difference. So that's that may have had an influence, because if you don't know what the person's like and then you see that and you see a bit of reality, then you might say, oh, that I changed my mind. She's more bitchy than Trump, for example. That could be the reaction. She's more bitchy than Trump, and if I don't like bitchy people, then I might say, okay, I'm not going to vote for her. Okay? Now, that's not the same as what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is even more deadly and has a more massive effect, and that is to come out on the day before the election and come up with a video that you cannot disprove within 24 hours. I'm going to tell you right now, it will be very difficult to disprove some of these videos in 24 hours. Especially if they did a good job. It would be very difficult to, especially if they made it a little bit grainy. Make the videos a little bit grainy, so then you can't really see too much detail. That's the kind of stuff that would be difficult to disprove. No, that's not true, Kelp. That would not require massive media cooperation. All you have to do is release it to Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters will take care of it for you. You don't need it. I'm telling you what the solution is. You come up with a modified video like this, and then at the last minute you send it to Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters would go crazy and go on the news and say, "Look what I got! Look what I got!" and before anyone gets a copy of the evidence to study it, people are already voting. You must really think Americans are stupid. Kelp, why don't you watch? Kelp is just, do you have any brains, Kelp? I mean, do you just say this because you want to feel special? Do you actually, are you actually using your brains? Did you actually watch a Zucking deepfake video? Did you actually watch a deepfake video, Kelp? Can you actually tell if it's real or not? Some of these people, I just can't believe this. I just gave you a scenario that you can actually go see now on the internet, and go track the voice of Voco, Adobe Voco, and talk like Clinton. That's what they used in the example. Or go look at the videos that they did faking Obama and Bush. It's just Google it, deepfake on YouTube. Not Google it. Go to YouTube and search for deepfake. Deepfake. And you look at the videos, and you tell me if you can tell. You can say, "Well, I can tell." Oh yeah, right. You tell me if the average person can tell. I guess I don't have the mind required to imagine such scenarios. Kelp, the technology wasn't zucking there. I just can't believe this Kelp guy. I mean, the Kelp is the guy that says, I'm saying that this data collection is leading us to 1984. And you know what Kelp says? You know what Kelp says when I said about this being 1984? He said, why are we looking at an old book? Why are we looking at an old book? That's his response. It's like, why don't you just pay attention to what the book is saying to you about what the society is describing, and compare it to this society, and see if you want to live in that kind of scenario. Instead, he said, well, that can't be real. Well, and I said to Kelp, I lived in a dictatorship myself. Our values are different. Your values are different, Kelp. You believe that people should spy on you, and that you actually don't believe in the U.S. Constitution, Kelp? Kelp doesn't believe in the U.S. Constitution, by the way, people. Kelp believes that we do not have a Fourth Amendment. No, Kelp does not believe we have a right to we have a right to a warrant in search and seizure. He doesn't believe that. That's the Fourth Amendment. He doesn't believe we have to have a Fourth Amendment because he believes that there should be surveillance and we are guilty until proven innocent. That's what Kelp believes in. Now, I don't follow that. I follow what the Constitution says. I follow what the Constitution says. And the Constitution says you need a warrant. But Kelp says, no, that's not important. Let's put a camera. Look what he said yesterday. Look what he said yesterday, folks. Kelp says, oh yeah, there's value to have a camera in every house. Well, that is exactly the scenario in 1984. In the book 1984, there's a camera in every house. That's incorrect, Kelp, because you are saying a scenario of having a camera in every house. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. We got Kelp just comes here to be hammered every night. It's like we have a Constitution. The Constitution says, and this actually even came from English law, that you are innocent till proven guilty. And then Kelp said, oh, we don't need to do that. We need to go change the law and say, yeah, we're guilty till proven innocent. So he's actually okay with a lot of the surveillance techniques being used today, which is that the U.S. government and law enforcement can collect your data without a warrant and use it against you for any reason, because they call it metadata. Any data they collect about you, your phone, your voice, and all that, used to be protected, with recordings and all that, but now it cannot be protected anymore because the Supreme Court called it metadata. Metadata is not protected. And Kelp said, we don't need to worry about that because we need to catch terrorists. Oh, really? Really? Oh, every law today was respected 100 years ago. Oh, so Kelp says that without changing the Constitution, Kelp says, let's implement a change to the Constitution without any kind of vote. Basically, Kelp says that the deep state and the people in power will change the Constitution without our input, and we don't get to say because, as he says, who cares about some law that was created hundreds of years ago? It doesn't affect us anymore. It's got to be interpreted in a new way, and the new interpretation, according to Kelp, is that we really don't have a Fourth Amendment. This Kelp is like, I don't know. It's actually very valuable to see Kelp here. Very, very valuable, so you can see the kind of the sick thought process. Sick thought. That's so sick. So something changed, that back in the old days we needed a warrant to protect us, so that we can go to court and make sure that they've actually vacated some verdicts because the information was taken without a warrant. And Kelp said, well, that's not important anymore because, the laws have changed. Our interpretation of the laws have changed. So now something as basic as the Fourth Amendment, Kelp says it's not important anymore because he believes this is part of this conservative society relating to terrorism. I didn't see anyone change the Constitution. I didn't see any Zucking debate that says that we don't have a right to get a warrant. And yet, Rule 41, people, the FBI now implements Rule 41. And Rule 41 says the FBI can search and hack you and take your electronic data at any point using any kind of surreptitious means, including hacking, without your knowledge, and use that as evidence, simply because you use encryption. That is the only requirement, people, that if you use encryption, they have a right to do this. Well, guess what? Do you use HTTPS, people? Do you use HTTPS? Because that is encryption. If you use HTTPS, the FBI now is justification to get your stuff without a warrant. And you're saying, oh, who cares? Oh, so that'll be used against you in court. So they're going to go say, hey, Kelp, I see you've been visiting some of these porn sites. And you say, well, what does that have to do with what you're accusing me of? It doesn't matter. They'll bring it to the jury to make you look like a bad guy. Yes, banks use encryption. So simply by using a bank for encryption, using a bank website for encryption, then the FBI can justify and say, oh, okay, you use encryption, therefore we have a right to collect your data. It's legal. Yeah, apparently Kelp says, whatever kind of abuse the government wants to do to us and our data, to circumvent our rights, for example, by classifying our data as metadata, therefore we don't have any protection for it, the response is, oh, that's okay. The juries in the society aren't morons. Oh, you are Kelp. Kelp is like in La La Land. Kelp is in La La Land. Really, you think that? You think that, just like you think that a video cannot be faked. Kelp lives in Virginia, next to the three-letter agencies. I have faith in our society. Well, Kelp, you do not have any understanding of what can be done to manipulate society, and you don't understand what I'm talking about, that the misuse of your personal data can be used to fake you out. You don't understand that, Kelp. You can't use your imagination. I just told you of a war scenario, and he actually didn't. I just told you of a war scenario that's meant to confuse you for a moment, and he's saying, well, that can't happen. That can't happen. Wow. Do we want to wait for a war scenario like this to happen? You want to actually wait for this rather than warn your soldiers and say, if all of you start getting this kind of stuff, in your personal life, all at the same time in social media, then what we should need to do is instigate a internet blackout immediately. An internet blackout for public internet, no social media, no nothing, no email. And then and have some procedures in place so that we can actually ignore it for a while if more than one person is having the same kind of bad news. But no, Kelp isn't going to take the precautions. Kelp isn't going to protect your data by saying, what can we do to protect yourselves against data mining and hacking? No one's going to think about this. No one. Because Kelp, you're not going to think about this. No. Because you're saying, this is a scenario that can't happen, so I won't even plan it. Okay, so Kelp is saying, I don't need to plan this. This is not going to happen. Now, that's, you know me, the way I think about it. The way I think of scenarios, I think of scenarios like this and say, it could happen. Therefore, if it can happen, what are we going to do about it? I'm warning you now, a day before the election, somebody will come up with some zucking video about Trump. Now what? Now what? If a video comes out the day before the election, I will now tell you and warn you now that it's probably used to manipulate the election. I'm warning in advance. I'm not going to tell you when it happens. I'm warning you now. Because unlike Kelp, I know this can happen. How much can you prevent such scenarios? Oh, Kelp, I am telling you, by educating you, hopefully you will use your zucking brain. Oh my gosh. If you get warned about it, then you will start to think about something you never thought about. That perhaps videos and voice are not real. Telling you right now, my attempt here is to educate you on the value of doxing your data as a way for the enemy to confuse you, to use fake videos, fake voice, fake information to give you fake zucking news and combine all this to cause havoc. Oh, Kelp. Kelp doesn't get it. Kelp doesn't get it. This is the kind of thing that can cause mass confusion the day before an election. Now, however, if Deep State likes the winning party, they say, oh, who's winning? Candidate X is winning. And Deep State says, oh, that's okay for us. Then obviously nothing will happen. What other photo do you have? So I heard people actually don't confirm a wild story when they hear it. Kelp is just not really getting it. Okay, you're not getting it. Most people look at a zucking video as real. Kelp, you're missing the zucking point. If you get a video, just like when Rodney King was beaten, did anyone say that's a fake video? Kelp, use your sucking head. When Rodney King was being beaten by police, was there somebody that says, hey, that's a fake video? Or you don't get that? Kelp is just so busy typing, he's not even thinking about what he's typing in here, okay? So I'm telling you right now, video and voice are easily believed today. Easily believed today. And what I'm trying to tell you is that, hey, based on today's technology, you ought to wonder. Your voice, your photo, your video can be manipulated. So now if they manipulate my video, they have to worry about getting rid of the squash. So they take my video on YouTube and put words in my mouth and they say, well, there's squash in there. Rodney King best down wasn't real. Did somebody say it wasn't real? Tinker, no one would question that the Rodney King video was real. Nobody ever questioned that. Because back then the technology was such that it's likely no one has the technology to manipulate a video of that kind back in the day. They do now. They do now. So today they can actually make fake videos like that. Never mind, Ted. Go away if you don't want. Go away, Ted. Doesn't matter. If you don't like squash, go away. The squash isn't for you, Ted. You need to have a little common sense to spot this stuff. Can't imagine missing that gene. You can't. The problem is these videos can be subtle. The videos can obviously will not look altered, and but they will have enough in there for you to confirm it's a real person in your mind from the video. And it could be a hidden camera kind of, as an example. It could be a hidden camera kind of recording. Say, well, we got a hidden camera of Trump saying X, or whoever Elizabeth Warren saying Y, and then put a hidden camera, and so it looks legit. And then, put words in their mouth and change the wording and change the sound effects and all that. And it's scary. Again, you got to watch Adobe Voco videos and deepfake videos on YouTube, and you will see that the technology is really scary. It is really scary because it's come to a time when we can't even detect a fake video. At the moment, I have a friend who's an expert at video, and he said that this is one of the new specialties that they're trying to develop, which are cyber forensic experts. They're looking for cyber forensic experts, and the problem. Hello, John, and the problem is it's such a new field. Where do you find a cyber forensic expert? Where do you find that? So when the time comes, who certifies a cyber forensic expert and says, yep, you really know what you're talking about? Well, it's so new, nobody knows. And it will be, the technology will be perfect timing, will be in perfect timing for the 2020 election to be in its most advanced state. By the time the 2020 election happens in couple of years, they will have a difficult time spotting a fake. They definitely will not be able to figure it out in 24 hours. They're not going to be able to figure it out in 24 hours. And if they can't figure it out in 24 hours, you know that will affect the election. This is what the problem is. Rob came in here promoting Facebook portal. Context. Again, Kelp doesn't have any imagination. He thinks that the video has to be something, so extreme, like Trump shooting somebody, something extreme like that. It's like he just doesn't have any imagination. The videos, the Clinton emails were simply about a Zucking personality. What we gathered from the Clinton emails, from the Hillary emails, was that she had a bitchy personality. That's all we got from that. It was kind of subtle. It was subtle, but it was enough, I think, to turn the election. It was subtle. You think you have to do something, extreme? No, it's got to be believable. Something believable, just, enough to affect the women's vote or something, something so, like a Me Too kind of video, for example, at the last minute. But a video. A Me Too kind of video. Trump with a intern. Trump with an intern at the White House. Something like that. So, use your imagination, but, Kelp doesn't have the imagination here. I'm trying to tell you that if you want to manipulate this, people in think tanks are probably in Russia even, are sitting and saying, how do we manipulate an election? Let's figure out something like this at the last minute. Maybe it will be state-sponsored. Maybe the state of China or of Russia or anyone that wants to beat us up will come up with a video and do it with such finesse because they have state capable technology and see what they can do. A gay intern. And you're missing the other part that I said here. The other part is the disinformation that came with doxing attacks on the people themselves. So you combine it with some other attacks to distract you with doxing attacks, like the military simulation I talked about. They actually attack the personal data of the all the commanding officers in the base. So everyone had a very serious problem with their family lives, and they were all focused on their family lives, and I'm sure somebody would disrupt the phone signal so they can't call. And all of this in a combination of these kinds of factors would then cause some panic. And then in the time of panic, that's when you drop something like this. So I can imagine scenarios. Maybe I'm kind of I can come up with imagined conspiracy theories in here, but it could be a series of videos dropped one after the other so that you don't have a time to respond. No, Kelp, this is not, to you, this is science, sci-fi. This is just hacking knowledge. Kelp doesn't understand what I'm talking about. It's knowledge about if somebody wants to attack you, how would they attack you? How can they attack you with disinformation? How can they attack you with fake news? How can they attack you with doxing? How can they attack you with hacking? I'm telling you how you can do it. So this is spread rumors and breaking the window, and yeah, it just it. This is my role. My role is to educate you and put knowledge in your mind, so you say, okay, there is a danger to being doxxed. There's a danger to your information being out there because it could be used against you. There's a danger for you to trust whatever you see on the internet. There's a danger for you to be in social media and believe everything you see. There's a danger for you to accept things without question. There's a danger for you to accept videos and voice as being 100% real, because back in the day it was real, but not anymore. So I'm putting this knowledge into your head so you can examine things and say, hey, we didn't know that before. 99% of the population thinks video and voice are still 100% evidence, just like when they saw the Rodney King beating, they said that, looked at that video, and nobody ever said that video was fake. So 99% believe that still today. 99% would never question a video and say that's fake. If somebody released a Rodney King video today, in today's world, they will still say that's not fake. But I'm going to tell you right now, if a Rodney King video was released today, it could be fake. Not in 1991. If a video is released today, it could be fake. And you have to understand that and put that in the back of your head, because 99% of you believe it cannot be fake. Well, I'm going to try to convince you and convince the majority of you that it can be fake. It can be fake. Therefore, if it can be fake, have that doubt in your mind so you don't believe everything you see, especially in fake news. Yeah, but they did not have the technology to do that, Johnny, back then, because back then video was analog. In the 1990s, video was analog. Today it's digital. No, hey, most of us don't get it yet. If you didn't hear me say this, most of us do not get it. As I said, if somebody put out a Rodney King video today, no one would say there's a possibility that's fake. No one would say that. No one would say that. Nowadays, if I see something, I would say, pause. Could it be fake? Raise the question. Because if you're armed, oh my gosh, Kelp, it's just not, are you actually paying attention to what I said? Yes, back then, it could not possibly be fake because there was no technology to fake it. Oh, MK, come on. You got to trust all news and all the channels. Kelp is not paying attention to me. Back in the day, in the 1992, 1991, they did not have the technology to fake videos. In 2019, they can fake the video and the sound. And Kelp will twist what I say around and then come up with some stupid argument that just misses everything I just said. Just ignore what I said and just go. It doesn't matter what I say. It's going to twist it around into some other argument that has nothing to do with what I just said. Okay? Yet not a single example of that today. How is that? There is an example of it today. Kelp, it's called porn. Zuck. I mean, what the Zuck are you talking about? There are zucking examples of it in porn. And we're talking about amateurs building this. What if a state builds it? What if a state, somebody funded by China and Russia, builds it? Oh my gosh, Kelp, you're just too much. Okay? You're just too much. Just too much. You just want to argue for the sake of arguing. Okay, got it. Argue for the sake of arguing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what I'm saying because you're just gonna ignore it anyway. Go slower for kelp. Yeah, they keep putting people's faces on my body. Recent article about Scarlett. Yeah, it was Scarlett Johansson. Yes, that was the article. It was Scarlett that she said she can't stop it. She said she can't stop it because they can't even prove who did it. They do not have any way of finding out who did it. Go look in the news about Scarlett Johansson, and she said they have no idea how to catch the person who did it. Because kelp, you're nonstop. You don't even think that anything you said is not an insult. It is. Every comment you say is. What's with the fake backgrounds lately? What do you care, we Fukan? So and it's kind of absurd to use porn videos and put somebody's face on that because obviously the position of the body affects the believability of the video. But if it's a simple video where the person isn't moving much and just talking, you really can't spot it very easily. If it's just the president, like they used Obama, Bush, Bill Clinton, and the examples that I've seen, if they're just sitting at the White House talking and not moving much, there isn't much that you can say about the body. And what they're doing is just replacing the movements of the mouth. They're actually taking, is it an alter ego or life you had? I know we Fukan is just very sad, yes. I'm a very sad loser. I know that. I saw one with Billy with a cigar. So, instead of focusing on me, we Fukan, can you just not distract from the message? I'm trying to explain a serious message in here, and everyone just wants to, pick on me in every way they want, and that's okay, but everyone be aware that it's the message you want to hear. You do not care about me or my background or the fact that they're squashed. That is not fucking important here. What's important is that you pay attention to what I'm saying and seeing if you can pick something from it of value. If not, then you shouldn't be watching me. If you don't think I'm saying anything important, you shouldn't be here. I've seen deep fakes. Amazing. Okay, hey, you actually went out there and looked at it? You're talking about everyone uses fake news, including you. Is green screen such new technology? We Fukan? I didn't know that green screen was such new technology. We have to discuss it. Would you rather see my blinds? Is that what you're saying? That you just have a plain white background? Is that does that enhance my viewership? We Fukan? How does that help me? So you're saying that if you're doing a video on YouTube or any such thing, that your job is not to make the video pleasing to the eye because it's fake news. Zuck. Just the logic of this just okay. People, I guess lighting is bad in real life, so therefore all of your videos should have bad lighting. Okay, We Fukan says that. All lighting should be bad. If anybody uses any good lighting, it can't be because real life doesn't have good lighting. It's an amazing house. Let's talk about Crate and Barrel. Lost and found. Yes, I'm always a target for attack. Yes, okay, attack me. Attack me. That's fine. Just listen to my message. Just listen to my message. Did you know this is a art building, nerdy gal? This is an art building in Los Angeles. They build nicer art buildings in Los Angeles. Your mic is too loud. Then I can step away from it. Maybe I'm shouting because of people accusing me of stuff. So fake news twist responses to make them self-important. If you think I'm self-important, that's okay. My goodness, I didn't realize I had such an ego that this is about self-importance. Okay, so I'm a loser. Okay, got it. Yeah, this is my art space, nerdy gal. This is my art space. Although Van said, why does he have a wicker chairs? Can't afford some real furniture. Actually, if you look at the background, there's a nicer sofa. There's a nicer sofa behind me. Let's see. I can't even see it. Where is it? Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. It's a nicer sofa. Okay, well, what else? What other kind of criticism do you need to say? Do you have makeup on? Do you have makeup on? What are you going to say now? Did you fix your hair before you went on the broadcast? Did you comb your hair? Well, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. Why do I wear a nice shirt? No, that's not realistic. I must be faking it. I'm too self-important to have to fake my appearance for you. So I guess that's the focus of tonight. So anyway, put lotion on the squash. Zucking squash. That's all it is, people. Squash. I know lost and found. Yes, it's hammer me day. Yes. So I guess Kelp needs some backup. So Kelp's getting some backup. Looks like a bum. Well, it's not. It's squash. So yeah, I'm hopefully I'm trying to say something important here, and even with all the distractions, just understand what I'm trying to say is something important. That if you have data out there, I can use it for any bad purpose. I can imagine many bad purposes for that data. I give you an example. Again, hello Snarky. Again to make you think about this on a very basic level. I will remind you again of my story before kind of my closing reminder. How are you doing, Snarky? Sorry for interrupting your broadcast. To remind you about the how doxing can be used, I'm going to repeat my story. Okay, I got a phone call. I was eating at a restaurant at lunch. I got a phone call, and the guy said, "Listen, your brother is in an accident." And I said, "What accident? Where?" And he said, "Shut up! Don't talk. This is very important. You're interrupting. Let me give you all the data. Your brother's in an accident." And I don't know what's coming next. You need to send money. I know that was the next statement. You need to send money now. I know that was going to happen. So I hung up. Okay? Did not call my brother. Did not do anything. Just hung up. Okay? But I'm telling you now, think about this scenario if I doxed you first. If I'm the bad guy and I doxed you first and I said, your brother's in an accident. Is your brother's full name John F. Smith? Yes. Is your brother's birthday April 1, 1992? Yes. Is his address in this and such Los Angeles, California? Yes. Well, he's the one in an accident. Does he look like this? Yes. He's in an accident. Okay, will you hang up then? Can you get the IMEI? No, the phone company will have to do that. Will you hang up? You'd probably stay on the line a little bit longer because you're like, I mean, it could be real here. You stay on the line a little bit longer so they have more time to scam you. The point is, how did they get that information? From Zucking Doxxing. Where would you get that information? Facebook, people. Number one, Facebook. You don't think that's valuable, right? So I can do this on Facebook. I'll dox you. Then I'll do what is called a side channel attack and dox your friends and your family on Facebook. Then I got the goods on all of you. Then I make my zucking calls. Okay? Remember Kevin Mitnick? Remember Kevin Mitnick? Yes, doxing attributed to Facebook. Remember Kevin Mitnick, the most famous social engineering hacker of all time? Oh my gosh. He must be like, this is his dream world right now today. The doxing world. He would dox you first. He would dox you, that's how he did his hacks. He always doxed them first. He doxed them by calling them up and getting information. He doesn't even have to do that. He just has to go on Facebook, get all the data, and then use that information against you. What is HLR? There's many other ways of looking at data. What is the Zuck is HLR? There's Intellius, Spokio, People Finder, BeenVerified.com, on and on and on. And they got all your information. Kelp, these scam artists aren't that bright. I'm telling you, they are brighter. They're using spear phishing by combining doxing with the phishing attack. It's called spear phishing. And there was many examples of this. I gave some in a prior scope. And the people in the hacking community, when they listen to the technique of how they do this, 90% of them get scammed. 90%. My info is out there too. Show me my info then. I am me. I bet you I'm more careful than you are. Home location register. You don't need a home location register. You just need a reverse IP lookup. Starlight, many techniques. There, when in an emergency, I will tell you the truth here. My brother was scammed. My brother actually sent money. He was scammed on Facebook. Somebody said his friend was stuck in some country in immigration and needed help. He was stuck in immigration and can't call. He's calling for that friend. That friend was stuck in immigration in Saudi Arabia. I forget what the country was, but something like that. And that he needed money to pay for the fee to do whatever. Okay? And it was an emergency, had to be done now, and he needs a couple $100. And he needs it now, or he's going to be taken to jail. We'll never see him again. Okay? And the guy said, here, why don't you PayPal me the money and I'll pass it on to such and such. I'm just doing it for a friend. I'm just doing it for him. He called my friend who had a phone. He was in the, and they got all the information just by getting your information on Facebook, and that's how they knew about everything he did. The other thing that they did, the other thing that they did, guys, was they hacked the email. So they got information about his email, and they spear phished him using the email from the past, got some information from that, from contact lists, etc., and then he clicked on something on the email, and they used that information then to start the scam. Well, Kelp, I don't know. Let's just say I have above average skills with spotting this. Do you? My skills to spot these things are above average. perhaps way above average. That's why I have hacking skills and you don't. Okay, I'm very good at this, and I can spot a scam. When the guy called me about my brother, I didn't wait. It didn't bother me. I didn't even call my brother. I didn't go do anything. I just hung up and ate my lunch and said, "Suck you, mother sucker." Okay, obviously I would never get tricked by. This is Microsoft technical support. We're here to fix your computer. You have a virus on your computer. If you pay us $99, we would fix your computer, sir. Do you like us to fix your computer? I can't believe some of you were scammed by that, but come on. Oh my gosh, I have phone set to contacts only. All letters get voicemail. I don't even have that. I don't answer my phone. You call me, I will not answer my phone. Microsoft Scottish support. I can't imagine anybody falling for that. I mean, it's just like the Nigerian phone scam. It's like it's as bad as the Nigerian phone scam. Left the phone there and walked away. But that's it. That's how it is. The Nigerian phone scam. People stopped calling long ago. No, they closed down the Microsoft technical support. They put the guy in jail. They actually went to the guy in India and put him in jail. So yeah, he was actually arrested. Yes, I am Rob from Microsoft Technical Support. I am here to fix your computer. Your computer has a problem. Dox someone and spoof a name and phone number makes it easier. Tell them you have no computer. Well, it's funny that I was getting a call. It was so hilarious when I have a Mac. At the time that I got the call, I was using a Mac. We found a virus on your computer, sir. Yeah, I've been a Microsoft partner for. I've been a Microsoft partner, since forever, since the beginning of Microsoft, and Microsoft has never ever called me, and I'm a partner. I'm a Microsoft partner, and I have never gotten a personal call from Microsoft. And so now I get a call from Microsoft technical support. Yeah, right. They would actually call me. Great. You actually believe that? I had him call and I started to give him a credit card number, and I start to give him a credit card number, and maybe next time it's real. Come on, Kelp. Don't do baby things. Do something serious. I used to like to let them get their spiel out and then tell them I'm an FBI agent. If you answer the phone and it says it's your brother's number asking for money, that would be another way of doxing if we can. That's spoof the phone number, which you can. Oh yeah, that would be more believable because it will actually come up with your brother's. I have your brother's phone. Yeah, that's a good one. I have your brother's phone with me. He's here in an accident. Then he doesn't have to identify his name because I don't know who he is, but I have your number on here. Yeah, I don't know his name. Well, what about stealing your IMEI number? That's where you can take over somebody's phone. It's a big thing now. You can make your own SIM card. You get the SIM card machine from Amazon or from the internet. Get the SIM card making machine, and then spoof your own IMEI and just take anybody's number and then use their minutes. That's today's world now. Anyway, that's the world we live in, folks. Just making you aware of this. You're armed with knowledge, people. Knowledge. Tomorrow I will explain something very technical but very important because most of you probably will not understand this. Okay, most of you will not understand this, and that is how to use passwords. Are passwords actually going to protect you? Do passwords protect you? If you password protect a file, if you have the password on a website, if you know, are these going to protect you? Tomorrow we'll actually give you kind of a lesson to understand when it does and when it does not. That's something you will understand tomorrow, and you will be armed with some knowledge. Most of the average people do not understand how passwords work. Most of you don't understand that. You don't know what some of the techniques are for breaking a password, nor do you know what hashing means. Some of you don't know what salt your hash means and things like that. So hello, Phoenix. So I will teach you that tomorrow. It'll be interesting. It's not going to be a conspiracy theory kind of thing. It'll be technical information. No, you don't always salt your hash. The job of salting your hash is not done by you. You don't salt your hash. Yes, Kelp, you can learn to hack a password from what I'm going to tell you. We're going to talk about Wi-Fi. We're going to talk about everywhere passwords are used and how you can accidentally reveal your passwords and how you can get Zuck. This is very, very basic knowledge. But if you understand this, because most of you are, especially some tech people, are saying the solution to this is force you to change your password every month. If you use products like ZenCard, for some of you who use that kind of store, the admin account of ZenCard requires that you change your Zucking password every Zucking month. Security experts have now said that is a waste of time. That security experts have now said that's a waste of time. So we will discuss that. So this will be interesting for some of you, and that will be tomorrow's topic. So if you want to understand this, it's going to be very, very educational. This knowledge will help you not get hacked. This knowledge will get you to not get hacked, and we will discuss it tomorrow. And hopefully you come out of here educated, and it will not be about a conspiracy theory, and that will be tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I will not stop my Periscope stream. Listen, people, I'm going to remove YouTube from the broadcast. People, I will remove YouTube from the broadcast. I will not stop Periscope. However, if the picture hangs, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. If the picture hangs, just come out and come back in, and you should see the stream again, okay? So I will stop YouTube. Don't leave. Do not leave. Please follow me on YouTube. If anyone is not following me on YouTube, I am Rob Braxman. Please follow me on YouTube. I will be making short videos. They'll be informational, and I will be posting that on YouTube perhaps once a week, once I get done with some bugs that I'm working on right now. When I get done with that, I'm going to make a task of making a video a week, because that's what Starlight Karaoke told me to do. So now I got to do that, except I'm not an expert at it. I got to go figure it out. I'm going to make a video every week if I can. So that's my goal. This week has gone past, and I was overridden with bugs, and I can't do it. So I will be doing that with short videos explaining some of the stuff that I talked about. Maybe short things about email and all this information I told you in a short form, and I'll put it to duplicate whatthezuck.net. Okay, so that will be the task. So please follow me. Please follow me on YouTube. You can also follow Nerdy Gal on YouTube. Anybody else on YouTube that needs to be followed? So follow. It's gonna take me a fucking year to get to 1K subs. So please follow me on YouTube, because this will be informational for you. It will be good stuff. I will now end this YouTube portion of the broadcast. Periscope will not go down. If the Periscope Please remind people that if the picture hangs, just restart, okay? I'll be right with you. Okay, do not leave. I will just turn off YouTube. Okay, the picture will hang. Don't turn off the broadcast, but come out and come back in if it hangs, okay? Not immediately. Give me a minute. Okay, see you in a moment. See you in a moment.